Tatiana, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on. You want to tell our audience a little bit about your business, what you guys do?
With Dancing Classrooms, we are a nonprofit. We go into inner city schools and we make the fifth graders ballroom dance with their classmates. It's not an after-school program. It's part of the school day, something they do with their classroom teachers and their peers, and it's every bit as mandatory as their math or their social studies, as we often have to tell the kids, because predictably at first their reaction is to hate it and hate me and who's ever coming in to force them to do this. Fortunately, we've become very good over time at changing that and teaching them to love it and really engaging them with it. But
so I'd
challenge.
imagine the intent here is to build a lot of different skills in the kids, not to make them professional dancers or ballroom dancers, but probably socialization, self-esteem, working together. Is that what's the motivation behind dancing?
Exactly right. It's interesting you say that, because we really don't think of ourselves as an arts enrichment program. We're much more about social development. I think in a lot of schools today, particularly underperforming schools, which is where we do a good portion of our work, we know that teachers are very focused on content mastery, on improving students' test scores, and in some cases English language proficiency, and rightly so, all these important performance metrics. What's not as clear to us is where the students are getting these lessons in some really important life skills that they're also going to need. So teamwork, the ability to problem solve effectively, and even just the love of learning and how to engage with that process and how to create a good learning environment with a group. That's really what we focus on going in and doing with the students. We found that the ballroom dances are a very good way to get them to do that, but it's much more about what we see happening to their social interactions and their classroom dynamics through the course of the program.
So is your background in dance or education?
I have been a dancer my whole life, but it was always just an interest or a hobby of mine. Professionally, my background is actually in investment banking. That was my first job. I went off to New York and thought that I was going to work on Wall Street, but then through a series of events, not a series of events, basically just through me hating it, I decided to really take a step back and get off that track for a while, and ended up as a professional trapeze artist.
Oh wow!
I was teaching at a circus school,
I think you may be
and I was
the first
performing.
on here.
Quite possibly. I was teaching at a circus school. I was performing up and down the East Coast, and I think as a result of me sort of being involved in that performer, that artist community, one of my trapeze students found out that I had a dance background. She worked for the organization in New York, suggested that I would be a good teacher, and I ended up going to audition for them. And next thing I knew, I was training to be one of their teachers, and I was hopping on the subway to the South Bronx every day to go